hip hop, hip hop, hip hop, hip
Bars is back.
hip hop,
Sam
hip
Ant.
hop,
Oh God.
hop,
What's
hip
up with you?
hop.
I done watched them niggas do interview after interview. They not culture vultures, the culture something they been into. So if you never gave them a view, I recommend you do. Cause when they question guests, they message is not subliminal. It don't matter if you a
It's a hard road to hoe, as they say.
Absolutely. No, when I think back on my childhood, and it's not like it is today, because the kids, they got to go back to when we grew up in the 90s, late 80s, early 90s, to watch those sitcoms like The Living Singles, The Martins, The Fresh Princes, The Cosby Shows, The Different Worlds, and The Malcolm and Eddies, and the list goes on and on of positive Black images on the television. And we had our legendary Joseph Marcel on a couple months ago to play Jeffrey Butler, and he was talking about the chemistry that they had on the Fresh Prince set. I don't think there was any tighter chemistry than the 6 legends that were on Living Single. Can you talk about being casted on Living Single and the chemistry that you guys had early on? When did you know that, well, we have something special here?
After the first table read, after the first recording, everybody was so clearly defined as the person they were. And the friendship you saw, I think that's the thing that really makes the show resonate with people. The friendship is real. We all love each other. We talk to each other when we can. We check in on birthdays, holidays, I consider those are my sisters and my brother, and we looked out for each other on set. We always had each other's back. And that kind of cohesiveness helped when things weren't going well, when, the powers that be, there was a struggle between us and the powers that be. That kind of cohesiveness helped us maintain what we needed to maintain.
Right. Now you talked about, the first 2 episodes. I think you talked about maybe the show producers kind of trying to paint a war between, you, Overton, against, the Black women on the set. Could you talk about that and the war you had to go through and fighting back, saying, look, I don't want to portray that image to the world?
Well, it wasn't a war, so to speak. Okay. Basically, they were looking at Overton and Kyle as Lenny and Squiggy.
So, yeah, they want y'all to dance.
Yeah, and it was not. It got to a point in the episode we had to go, well, no, we don't want to do that anymore. And that's not who these people are. You cannot put 2 buffoonish men up against 4 strong women, 2 buffoonish Black men up against 4 strong Black women. You can't do that.
Do you think that was done in just pure ignorance, or was there something behind it?
I think it's ignorance. Again, they were looking at us as Lenny and Squiggy. So you put that stupid stuff on Lenny and Squiggy.
Yeah.
So what happened to those type of shows, though? Like Sam Ant was just talking about, like now everything is like a reality, somebody going at each other's throat, ripping off their wig.
Well, you got Bentley Evans. Bentley Evans is producing sitcoms out of his studios. And they've grown. Where they started and where they are now is like night and day. The directing is great. The acting is good. So, you can still get your sitcoms. Tyler Perry has several shows that are still on. What else? Yeah.
They don't hit the same, though. And there's no disrespect.
I understand. I think the intention is different.
Yeah.
I think the intention, not only from the writers and from producers, but the intention from the cast may be different. We had a really clear intention to create something that we hadn't seen.
Powerful.
Did you guys get any backlash in maybe the imagery? Was there any back and forth on how things should be portrayed throughout your time on Living Single? Kyle Barker came up.
At times. But I am very grateful to have had the opportunity to create something that resonates so strongly in my community.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have had that platform had it not been for the show and the people that created that show. So regardless to how, what we went through or what I went through on the show, the work speaks for itself.
Now, the betrayal factor of, somebody from one of the higher ups on the show one day saying they will never get rid of you. Then you talking about like soon thereafter, you got a text or a call saying you got fired. Could you kind of get in, to that whole thing? And did you feel betrayed at that time?
It is what it is. Yeah, it's did I feel betrayed? Well, absolutely. You don't fire somebody after that amount of time on the show by a phone call. You don't let that was just kind of it showed me how disposable they consider actors.
Actors in general, or
Actors in general, but especially African American actors.
Yeah.
But actors in general, they look at us as very disposable commodities. Throw one away, there'll be one standing right there to take the part. So they don't really. You're not really a person. You're a commodity. You're an email address. You are. How many likes do you have? How many people are following you? That's what you are. Your talent is tertiary.
Yeah.
So did they ever give you like a formal explanation, all right, this is why we're moving on from you? Wow.
I got the company line. The company line was they had to make changes and they couldn't touch the girls, and Overton had married Sinclair, so I was the logical choice to go.
Man.
It is what it is, dude.
I know it's a long time ago, definitely.
Yeah.
And you moved on, and understandably so.
Absolutely. Luckily, because of the training I got, I could do more than one thing. So when the TV stuff wasn't working, my animation and voiceover stuff picked up. So, you can stop that, but you can't stop me.
Talk about animation. That's something I've always been interested in. We had Jason Weaver on, and we were rapping to him about that, the animation side, because a lot of people don't know how lucrative and fun it is and how many of our stars are sitting behind some of these cartoon characters or Pixar characters that we love and our children love. So how did you get into that?
I took a class, brother. I took a class, got a tape at the end and shot my tape, and got an agency that I've been with since 95. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a great gig to have. It used to be, I hate saying it like this, but B-list actors would get the voiceover jobs. They didn't have A-list actors whoever. But now, because all these A-list actors have kids, they want to do projects that resonate with their children. So now you can get The Rock, when you couldn't get him before, but you can get him now.
Will Smith and all these other and you did video games too. How was the video game?
I love the video game work, man. It's it's a way to get off a lot of frustration. You're dealing with a character that is kind of violent.
Kratos. Yeah, he get busy a little bit.
Now, the living single thing, I want to ask you a question on the back end of that. When you're talking about, going through the situation and them deciding they didn't need you on the cast anymore. You mentioned being blackballed. Talk about how you were blackballed and who you think was behind making sure you didn't get, blackballing you, I should say.
Well, when you fire someone like that, you have to make up a reason why you fired them. So they made up the reason why they fired me, and that reason resonated throughout the industry. So when they know you've been fired and powers that be are saying you were fired for these things, even though you didn't do those things, then everybody assumes that that's who you are.
No, there's no recourse, legal recourse.
What could I do?
On the door, because I get it.
Yeah, what could I do?
I understand.
You said powers that be often. Oh, go on, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, please.
Again, it goes back to us having more control over our images and what we put out. We're still giving everything away. And we won't have control if we keep giving it away. Somebody else will always have control over the images and what they do.
You seem like I don't want to say a spiritual man, but you seem like a spiritual man. Somebody's just at peace with himself. And you brought up powers that be a lot. And when we put this interview up, a lot of people are going to attribute powers that be to the Illuminati. Oh, see, the Illuminati, this and that. When you say powers that be, can you enlighten our people on what you mean by that?
I mean the people in control. Where the universe has, excuse me, has your journey going. You know, some people fight against the journey that they're really supposed to be on. That's why they have so many problems. But if you tune in to what you're here for, then life gets to be a little clearer. Your decisions get to be a little clearer. So, you know, I'm like you said, I am a spiritual person. I pray, I believe in God. I'm not a Christian or Baptist, or I believe in God. I know that there's an entity out there bigger than us. And I know there's something else guiding me if I pay attention, you know. So I meditate. I try to laugh as much as I can, exercise, you know, trying to be like y'all, you know.
Oftentimes when we get an actor on